Caston, 310 Blackberry Hill Road. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to bring something to your attention that I'd love to put in the hopper for consideration. Hackmatack Playhouse, which is one of our special things here in town, and support community and the arts, and as an institution, and probably one of the rings for out-of-town folks. It reached out in late fall, picking up again something they've done in the past, which was hold auditions. Done that, and we're not charged to use the auditorium for auditions because they're volunteer. Price list. They are not a nonprofit, they are a for-profit. I mean, obviously, it is not something that people tend to get and it was the price was too high. It was significantly less to go to Southborough for them, and I've come to understand I think it's $25 to me. Part of what we're local organizations that are doing good things, but certainly makes sense that there would be a cost for an out-of-towner. Floors have to be washed, stuff has to be cleaned up after something like the farmer's market. But an audition situation is, two people in chairs and one person at a time getting up on a stage and singing. I was more than happy to have somebody, myself, with, let them in, let them out, supervise, make sure that things were cleaned up and put back. Not something we need to do right now. They've already made arrangements for this year, but I'd love to think that for next year we could open ourselves up to these kind of possibilities in the future. So I know that some of these prices were set by the select board within recent history, so it might be good to revisit what some of those situations are. Anyone else for public comment? We have several public hearings today. First, we have the marijuana caregiver retail store and medical marijuana production facility at 513 Portland Street, Trican.
Xfinity. Basically, it's just a copy of all their policies and terms, letting us know what they're doing to everybody. But I'm not going to leave them over the record or anything. So if you want to see them, Comcast.com and look up their privacy settings and payment requirements, all that stuff, and you'll get where these are at. Approval of accounts payable. We have payroll warrant number 49 from January 18th, $84,259.10. Payroll warrant number 50 from January 25th, in the amount of $82,191.65. Payroll warrant number 59 from February 1st, in the amount of $86,251.99. Accounts payable warrant number 52 from January 31st, in the amount of $17,806.97. Payroll warrant number 53 from February 8th, in the amount of $83,051.12. Accounts payable warrant number 54 from February 6th, in the amount of $1,048,704.08. And accounts payable warrant number 55 from February 6th, in the amount of $20,459.98. I'll make a motion that we pay our bills.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
You're gonna love that extra week off.
Yeah, right? Numbers getting busy. I'm going to say $1 billion. All right. No business, no quick claim deeds, no abatements. Anybody for a second public comment? Hi. Name and address.
Hi, Michael LaRue, 263 Pine Hill Road. I'm the chair of the planning board, and I just wanted to discuss something that happened the last planning board meeting. At the end of the meeting, someone in the audience yelled at us about how we're catering to developers now, and he seemed pretty upset about it. I guess some of our discussion after the public hearing might not have liked it, but I felt that after a meeting is not the place or the time to say something if you're upset. If you're upset, you could say it inside the meeting where everyone else can hear it and see it instead of, I don't know. It was pretty upsetting to me because I try to cater to the individual and not cater to developers. I mean, it comes down to landowners' rights, and as a landowner in Berwick, I mean, everyone should have a say, but to the point is, where do we draw the line on, like this case was just on adding a fourth permit for a minor subdivision. It was not that big of an issue, but apparently it was.
Thank you. And yeah, definitely for the record, if you have issues, bring it to the public at the meetings. We have public comments before and after. We always want to hear from the public. They don't often come to everything. We will have an executive session. Do we have any other business, non-agenda items?
I think just second what Michael said from the planning board meeting, because I watched it and I think it was a very well in-depth conversation that they had. We have two committees with the open space plan and the comp plan committee working really hard to look at what the town is looking for land use ordinances, and the planning board's been doing a great job at trying to address each thing as a moving, breathing thing. If the public has anything, now is the time to have your insight in a professional manner or a respectful manner, because at the end of the day, it all goes back to the voters anyways to approve it. So the more insight we hear from the public, that's what we're going to put on the ballots for everybody, and I think that's just what we really want to make sure that people are aware of doing. So, and then thank you to the planning board for addressing these in a timely manner, whereas I think last year we pushed some things that we were trying to feel like we were crunched on.
They're in budget review. All right. So, library people. Kick it off.
Have approximately 25% increase in patron visitation to the library. That's the number of people coming in. We have about 11% increase in circulation of items. We don't just have books. We have a huge library of things: kayaks, tents, sleds, drills. Libraries are much more than books these days, and Berwick Public Library is certainly keeping up with that trend quite nicely, and I think our patrons really enjoy it and appreciate that. Our program is tight. I have, I'm ushering out the Minecraft kids, ripping them away from the computers, having them run out the door so I can bring in adult programming, and we have the Girl Scouts there tonight, and they're having a wonderful evening. We love to support community entities all through the town, and it's just finding the time and the space, and we're doing just that. It's a tight schedule. So I'm not surprised by our numbers. I see my staff working exceedingly hard to provide the services and keep up with their demand. And it is definitely coming from the community. They're letting us know what they want, what they need. So all the numbers reflect it. It's a positive place. The library is the community center of Berwick, and I'd love to just continue this trend.
So it looks like the only source of major increase is in full-time wages. Are you looking to hire another person?
I am not. I'm looking just to give more hours to one of the part-time people.
Gotcha.
Yeah, what's happening is part-time, part-time's being moved to full-time. So that's why you see the decrease in part-time, the full-time is being fully moved back. It also reflects the health insurance.
So are you open 7 days a week?
We are not.
Okay.
No. We're doing this on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoon we open, Friday till 5, and Saturday till 3.
Part-time going to full-time, Thursday will be open, instead of 2:30, we'll be open like
Yeah, we'd like to see coverage of, more hours added, but we just can't do it with the current staff hours.
So I just noticed that a couple of these is 100% change from that. We didn't have anything budgeted, and equipment purchases, miscellaneous, things like that. And I did notice that before you'd budgeted 2,000, you'd only used, sent in 579. But I'm a little concerned if you don't have something that something breaks down, happens. excuse me, we added $5,000 to the contracted services, and we added $1,000 to, travel and training,
Yep.
which that, of course, that's not operating supplies, but
Right.
we tried to combine some of them.
So that's what you did, is combine, okay. My only concern is, it's hard to predict a whole year in advance. And even $500 is pretty minimal, but it's, but if you're happy with it,
I am.
Any other questions about the library?
No, I just want to say about Sharon sitting here. Like, the things the library is doing for the community are phenomenal. Berwick for a lifetime, just safety kits for winter, all that. And historically, you've always come in under your budget. So I've always seen that too. And you run it lean. And just thank you for what you're doing. And I have seen
Thank
that
you.
lift in programs. And I think just the positive response, and especially coming out of COVID the last year and a half, I think it's really been spiking. So I think it's been a big win for the community.
Thanks so much.
I think we're all set.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
You too.
See ya.
Police.
Thanks so much.
Oh, look at you being smart with the.
We'll figure that out.
Hey,
Oh, yes.
you want to cover the highlights?
You're smarter than I am.
You go with it? No? Answer any questions I have?
All right, I
Six.
can
My
cover
notes,
it.
pretty
I'll
much.
start. I'll just go down.
Welcome, have a good night.
I'll just go down the line items. I'll look at you if I get.
Yeah, absolutely.
Howdy, Chief.
Good evening, how are you?
How are you?
Still tired. Didn't get any energy in that last session.
We'll spice it up.
Yeah.
We'll just go down the line items, and Chief Town will fill in anything that I may miss. One of the first proposals is adding a full-time officer. This was something that was brought up last fiscal year, and it's something that we discussed to try to make sure that as the town grows, we have the staffing to meet the needs of tomorrow. So that's what you see reflected in the full-time wages. But that's also for half the year. So I think by the time that the training and all that, it'll actually be about halfway into the fiscal year. So there's some savings on that part of it for this upcoming fiscal year.
The position would start January 1st of '25.
Okay. Do you expect to have it filled by then?
Well, that's why we pushed it out a good year. It will take probably that amount of time to actually locate somebody to work in that capacity. It's very difficult to find full-time staff.
Yeah. We were discussing that at length.
Yeah. So I just wanted, there's no sense funding for something that I knew I would have a difficult time filling.
Yeah.
We do need the position, but I'm being forthright with you that it's going to be hard to find a position, a person to fill that position. Hard market.
Yep. Definitely.
And I don't know how much we can share for the
Yep.
DAA
Okay.
task.
can you at least tell us how much reimbursement we've gotten so far for that position? I know you sent the letter, I just can't afford it.
40, I think it was 43,000, and there's another 73 that is in process. It's an extremely slow process, but it is there, out of our hands. It's in the government's hands, and it's when they decide to release it.
You're trying to say the government doesn't work quickly?
Really?
It's very shockingly slow in this case.
And so part of this budget is proposing to fund it for half a year and phase it out halfway into the fiscal year. I mean, theoretically, as we're phasing it out, the full-time officer
Correct.
comes on board.
Correct.
I'm comfortable with that but hypothetically, if we don't have that position filled, do we keep that person on? Or do we?
I suppose we could. If as soon as I have an idea that we might be having the ability to fill a position, I will start working on it.
Okay.
off record, we already have. I'm always looking. I have to always look. And I have a few people that have slight interest at this point, but the market is changing so quickly, and so it's just so hard that there's some very enticing places to work right now, financially and for many other reasons. So I have a huge hurdle to get over in order to get somebody that wants to come to Berwick. And actually, that's the type of person I would rather have anyway, is somebody that wants to work here.
Yeah.
So again, it's going to be difficult, but I'm confident that we can fill it. It will just take time.
No, just take your time, get, and if you need help from us, let us know. Because we definitely are invested in getting the
Well,
job filled.
I do happen to have some applications here, so if you're that interested. Yeah.
I mean, I'll do it, but you're not gonna like it.
I heard the PT test is really strict.
I can pass it.
Some of the equipment purchases we're looking to fund from capital. Some of it can be funded from undesignated fund balances. That's why you see a little decrease there.
There's a lot of flat. I think I remember going through it.
Yeah.
Lease payment, new vehicle? Because that goes up a little bit.
It does. That is a new vehicle.
Okay.
I believe that the decision is to move away from leases in the future.
Yeah.
We tried that program, and it worked for a while. But personally, I would rather purchase it outright than have this lease continually.
Yeah, the interest rates are just less advantageous for.
Yep. So the next vehicle that's purchased is not going to be in a lease program, and you're going to see that lease number start to drop as those cruisers that have a lease on them slowly leave service.
All right. Will you have a line in there to put money aside for ahead of time, or
So
what's the plan?
cruises typically came out of capital requests in the
Okay.
past. So that the lease line item in this budget is relatively new, probably within the last 7-8 years. Prior to that, we didn't have that. It was just a capital
just a flat
purchase,
capital,
and that's
okay.
where we're headed back to now.
Got it. Everything looks mostly in order, and the increases are mostly wage related.
Yep.
Are there any questions for the chief?
Any interest in any of your part-time employees going full-time?
That's,
So I have, we hired one of my part-time who has just moved to full-time, filled
Okay.
an open position. That leaves me with one part-time person. Part-time people are, I would say, harder to find at this point than full-time people.
Okay.
And that person has some interest. I don't want to overspeak, but there's a possibility. Very good, strong individual. I would be happy to have him on board, but that's obviously his decision. If that happens, I will have no reserve officers.
Okay. So that poses its
so-
own challenge.
Yeah, it does.
and you can understand why it's hard to find part-time people. People need a full-time paycheck.
Yes,
So,
Yeah.
it's a tough world out there.
it is.
It's always changing. Any other questions for the chief?
Any, just a thought off the top of my head, but any thought about when you say if you don't have any reserves, working with some of the schools for like 1-year internships in a part-time role with some of the colleges? You get experience, you at least get someone in there for,
Our agency is just on the border of being too small and not large enough. With an intern that's not a sworn person,
yeah.
there's quite a few hurdles to get over to actually have them in-house due to the nature of what we do. So we would, I hate to use the term, we would have to oversee this person, which ties somebody up. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have requests, probably 1 or 2 a year from college students that want to do internships with them. I will talk with them. I explain to them just what I did to you. We came close one year. I had an individual that I thought would work because I'd kind of like to do that, to have that happen at our department. but we just, with the manpower that we have, we're on the cusp of not really being able to do it correctly.
Gotcha.
We are working, I'll tell you that I send people to the job fairs,
Career fairs,
Bangor,
yeah.
Portland, the colleges. We do what we can. Officer Fogg is in our schools. He's always looking for kids. We did start an Explorer program. We had 3 individuals, 3 young ones that have been used a little bit. They helped last year with launches in the square. So they're getting some exposure to us, hopefully to bring people up for the future, because that's what we're going to have to do. There's not a lot of people standing in line for what we do now.
It's totally changed.
It has.
10 years ago, there was, 80 applicants for one job. and-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you have enough money here to be able to do that, to go to the different programs?
Yes, we do. Yep.
Any other questions?
No, just, I mean, kind of the similar comment I had with Sharon. I know you made the comment about wanting to have somebody who wants to be in Berwick, and it's just kudos to you and the captain and the rest of the force that your officers are very well involved in the schools and programs, and I'm always seeing them, and, thank you and thank them for us for what they do, because we appreciate it.
We see them around a lot.
Yeah.
I am very fortunate. I have an exceptional staff. The fact that Berwick, of all places, is full staff, people look at us as an anomaly. We've been full staff for quite a while, and when I've been fortunate, I've had some part-time people that would just move up. But to be honest with you, every day that I walk through the door and I'm full staff, I consider myself a very lucky individual. And thus far, again, I don't foresee anybody leaving that I know of. But I am very fortunate, and the town is too, to have the people that we have working here.
We definitely agree.
Agreed.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Thank you much,
Thank
Chief.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah,
Planning and code.
I'll look at your cheat sheet.
Yeah, planning 4.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You're sitting right. This was my office right here.
Should have asked harder questions for him, is that what you're saying?
Really? Thank you,
guys.
guys.
So this budget, the proposal is to add a job title in the works. There might be something slicker to call it, but the idea would be somebody that is the director of community development, economic development, and planning. So it'd be an additional full-time position. And through the TIF, there is an item in there for staffing to cover for economic development purposes. The idea would for it to be, for the economic development portion of it, the funds out of the TIF to help offset the tax request. So while the budget request is $332,862, with a $65,000 offset, would be $267,862. To go along with that, that would reduce the contracted services item by $20,000, keeping some in there for help with comprehensive planning efforts and just some staff review for any complex projects. So again, the full-time wages, that's reflected through the FICA, Medicare, retirement, ICA, health insurance. Postage, the reason we've increased in postage is because although we're not required to do certified mailing, we just find that, we just, instead of hearing, hey, I didn't get this notice, we now have proof that, we've done our job to fulfill our statutory requirements for public notices.
And that's referring to abutters.
Abutters notices, yeah, abutters notices, yeah. We've saved some money over time with printing, that's newspaper notices. We've switched from Foster's Seacoast Online, which is essentially, it's just a larger conglomerate, to the Sentinel, which seems to hit more of the local population.
James, you wanna add a position. Am I just looking in the wrong spot? Do you have like a job description, a pay range, something like that that would explain the new position?
I do have a job description right here. I can.
Is it in oh, you have, okay. I just didn't know if I wasn't finding it.
Is the job description?
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
And what is the range on this one?
The proposed salary would be a max of 88,000 salary.
So there's not, the reason I'm asking is because in previous meetings, we talked about having salary ranges for individual positions.
Oh, right.
So,
Yeah, we don't really have in the packet here, right after that, the first
Yeah.
plastic, there's it's a start of a wage scale. We don't have a formal
one yet.
wage
Okay.
scale yet. I just provided that as a basis. If we can jump into that. All I simply did was take 10% off what Kennybunk. Some numbers seem to work well. Some numbers will need to be, I think, massaged based off the job descriptions. The wage scale project, I think it will be more of a fiscal year 26 project by the time we really.
So this is right here, this is the Kennybunk, so 90% of Kennybunk. Okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that's minimum to max.
Yep. And this position would be somewhere between a K and a J for reference.
A K and a J.
Yeah, if you're going by the Kennybunk scale. I messed up on the column on that. The J exempt and non-exempt should be reversed because the code enforcement would be non-exempt.
Right.
And then, yeah.
And did we look at any other town, any other municipalities other than Kennybunk?
This was a wage study that included 12 12 communities.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we have looked at other MMA, but it's kind of, some of the MMA stuff's hard to
Yeah.
parse through. It's so variant and it seems like incomplete sometimes, the hard to.
Somewhere between. Okay. Not K to J, J to K, right? H-I-J-K, okay. I'm like, why does it not sound right? J to K.
And then technical assistance. That includes the dues for SMPDC and Kittery Area Comprehensive Transportation System. It's actually less than what I initially brought forward last meeting.
And I'm just curious, because we've gone through a couple of different departments. Do all town employees get the same health insurance?
No.
Do not, based on
No.
their union?
Yes, the Teamsters have Allegiant, and everyone else has Maine Municipal Employee Health Trust.
Because the police insurance estimate is different than this one, okay, so that makes sense.
I know it's always an estimate of what the next year's rate's gonna be,
Right.
mid-year.
We don't get
You know,
Stipend doesn't cover that?
it. Yeah, it clearly states in our letter that we are not employees and not entitled to any benefits, so. Yeah.
That was so funny.
I was just curious, because we're gonna budget too, we're estimating health insurance for next year.
Any questions about planning?
You budgeted and it went up, and as far as memberships, is that just normal increase in dues, the current ones we have?
That would be,
It says 0, but it says you paid $549, you estimated $450. It's probably the same ones, but a lot of them have gone up.
yeah, that probably should go up, especially adding a staff.
Yeah,
So it should just go up nominally to include,
everybody.
yep.
And you,
Is anyone else's pay increasing other than the new position?
It would just be so right now, every staff is programmed for 5%.
5%?
So it'll be whatever the board decides for that, the eventual cost of living will just be
Yep.
reflected in the,
Thank you.
increase.
and you have already the equipment, if you're gonna add a new position, that new position is gonna require a new computer, new office setup, things like that. Is that already in here, or does that stuff you already have in-house?
I think
Because
some,
you don't have any, there's no increase here. Usually when you add a new position, especially this type of position, they're gonna need a specific computer, things of that nature. And
Right.
so we should put it in here instead of taking it out of contingency.
yeah, I think even just regular, it would make sense to just increase it a little nominally to,
To make
accommodate
sure
for office
that it's
equipment,
covered. Right.
And there's enough in training.
Yeah, I see you went up a little bit, that's good.
Yeah, I would just cover the added staff.
Yep.
Well, I'm just saying it's a department that really needs the training, so
Yeah.
it's making sure that,
There's all kinds of conferences and
yeah.
training opportunities, yeah.
MMA has some pretty good ones too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No, Linda asked mine.
What's that?
I said Linda asked mine.
Assessing.
Everything except for Vision. So Vision's our software, our assessing software that it communicates with Trio most of the time.
Not really.
That's a vote of confidence right there, most of the time.
Most of it.
Mostly a Trio issue. They're both. They're good, but they're fine.
Most of the time.
That's what
And
you
then
do when you look up here.
equipment maintenance. That is, what is that? That's I think the actual hosting. Oh yeah, let me check the description.
Maintenance fee.
The code enforcement
Looks
officer
like it's a maintenance
vehicle.
fee on that.
It's the vehicle.
This for assessing. Yeah, it covers the
Oh.
what's the
sorry.
camera maintenance
Hold on a
fee?
second.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the actual server? Yeah, it's essential assessing.
Yeah.
It's been in the budget forever. It just
I was gonna say, that's based on their cost, right? That's
Right.
nothing.
Yeah, it's-
That's what,
Yeah.
Any other questions about assessing? There's 6 lines. All right. Berwick Community Media.
should we post, we should post out to the next.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
all right.
we'll wait till 2 weeks.
Public Works. Hey!
Jody.
Come on down.
Oh, that was before there? I thought that was Old Man Mountain.
Happy Tuesday. So the first line item, what we did is we took a part-time employee and made them full-time, and that's reflected in that change. The other major change that's reflected in the overall budget increase is the lease payment, and that's just by virtue of the really long lead times. We're now just getting trucks. We just got a truck that Steve signed.
21 and 22. The 21 truck we just got back in October of last, and the other truck should be here next 2 weeks that we ordered from 22.
Yeah, they take a long time. So back to wages. So the reason why the part-time has gone down is because you moved that person up to full?
Correct. Yep.
Do you intend to try to replace that part-time person or just leave that vacant because they're now full?
The intent is to leave it vacant at this time. Yep.
There's a $20,000 drop in salt.
Yeah, we're hoping for a predictable year next year. I think historically salt has been right around 130, 140,000 as far as the expense line goes for that over the last 3 or 4 years. Obviously, that is all based on weather, and that's a forecast hard to decide on for next winter season.
One of the things is increasing contracted services to address some of the tree work that's needed. So that's part of that increase is to do some roadside tree work.
Equipment maintenance going down when we've overspent it last year?
Well, we're hoping the new vehicles that we
Okay.
currently bought, I believe the 2 new trucks from last year and the new truck this year, we're hoping not to be able to spend
Okay.
too much money on fixing those ones. So as the fleet age increases, as far as the newer stuff, I'm hoping to save some money there.
So we lease the vehicles?
No.
So what is the lease payment for?
Well, I think it's covered under lease payment when we buy them out.
It's really, it's a lease to own. It's not a lease like, like a vehicle lease like we would have. It's really a loan. They just call it a lease.
Okay.
And when you
So-
pay it off, you own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a loan. It's
Yeah,
literally just
it's an auto loan.
And what's the rate on that, as opposed to just buying it outright? Or should I just let you ask?
But that's okay. It's fine. It's
I
fine.
haven't done one since last October. I don't know what the rate is going to be, but you'll know very shortly here, according
Yeah,
to.
I just know the lease rates have been phenomenal each year, almost better to buy it than to lease it, because you're gonna pay in a percentage. I just curious how much.
It's worth checking.
Yeah. Especially with so much.
It's cheap to borrow money for.
Yeah, it's not anymore. I mean, everybody went to lease towns, everything for a lot of things, but now it's,
my interest was like 2%.
yeah, it was cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not cheap anymore.
Paying 8% on a car was crazy. I don't know who's doing it. Who are.
I guess the only other thing that kind of goes down too is, so 2023 we spent $35,000 in equipment purchases, yet we're only budgeting $20,000. And in 2023 we budgeted $17,000, so we spent twice as much as what the budget was for. Are we sure 20 is going to be a good line, or are you seeing something jump, or what went?
Or was
I guess
there-
what went awry in 2023 that we
I was
missed?
gonna say, or was it just a specific year that? Yeah, I saw that too.
Wasn't that the dump body that we had to replace or something? That's why that was increased.
Could be a couple things. We tried to get some vehicles in from last year. Again, that rolled over for another year or so. So some of the work that I had planned in 1 year actually rolled over to another year because of the lead time on stuff you had to purchase and things like that. Or it could have been, we may have used a bottom line leftover money. Like we might have had $180,000 left in the bottom line of the whole budget, and we kind of needed something, and we just put that code in there for that. So as far as...
So you're confident 20 is okay. I just want to make sure you're budgeting enough for yourself there, Jody, that's all.
Yeah, I think 20 is a good number for us right now at this point for what we got and what we need.
Okay. I want, oh, wait.
No, I actually didn't have another one, so this was like...
Could be a little off topic from the budget, but I remember when I first came onto the board, we did a tour
Yes,
of the building down there.
the building.
So what progress has been made with putting money away specifically to eventually replace that building or expand on that?
Yeah, we put 250 away 2 years ago. We put 60 away the last. We also did a generator project to be able to operate the doors and have the electrical needs out there in case the power goes out. We have worked on work with civil consultants on footprint for the expansion. We've been talking with the landowners when you need to purchase a little bit of property from the landowners to have the buildings fit. So that's where you can probably jump in on the garage door expansion that you're talking with Neil.
Those, yeah, so we're going to obviously keep the 1968 building that we have, obviously, because we can't replace it all. And over the years, the plow trucks have grown bigger since '68.
And that's what we had, yeah.
So I'm in the progress of talking to Neil about trying to widen those up about a foot, so we're not just ripping them all the metal and the siding off for starters. That's
So
where
we can reconstruct the existing position to fit the, because
So is it not a height issue, it's just the width that comes through?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
because wasn't the, part of the issue was because they can't come inside, they get the salt, whatever, and they're exposed to the outside, so then they end up with maintenance and rust from the salt issues, because it can't be appropriately cleaned in the wintertime with all that salt on it. So by opening up the doors, they can be inside and clean better so that it prevents the maintenance issues and rusting out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we clean them pretty good as we can, but I think part of the addition part that we were discussing, there's going to be some kind of bay in there for that kind of maintenance, for
That's what I'm
sure.
talking about. Okay.
Yeah, they'll lift, and then also have the his office
And some-
and just a better break room
That would be
area.
helpful, having you right there with the guys.
Yeah,
Right.
that'd be very helpful, and maybe a bigger break room for training and stuff when we can get to it down there instead of having to schedule it in other
There's some
places.
better
So
ventilation.
there is is there a draft workable plan for like the next 3, 5 to get this accomplished?
We're working on the purchase and then the
The land purchase?
yes, the land purchase. So that should be, the goal will be ready for this warrant article. And then working on design, they require planning board approval. And then at some point, we'll go after some grants for the actual, once we have a cost estimate to go out for grants.
Okay.
We'll be the first avenue and exhaust those options before we come back and ask for the taxpayers.
Okay, so within the next 5 years, we should have a workable plan.
Oh, well, in the next, I think the goal would be to have the thing built, hopefully within 5 years. That'd be that'd be the goal, to have the expansion
Yeah.
built within
Yeah,
5 years.
Trying to break ground in 2 or 3, anyway,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay. I know it's off topic, but I do remember when we first came aboard that,
Yeah.
we had the tour. And
Sorry,
that was
I didn't mean to-
that
It's
was
me,
a-
I'm in your space.
I know 5 years can go by pretty fast. So.
Yeah, well, let's see.
We're just breaking ground on the Great Falls Park project. That's been 5 years, so.
Yeah.
So is the transfer station part of Public Works too, right?
Yes.
Probably the next page. Flip it.
No, like, the,
Not the tab, the next
Turn
page.
it up.
Oh,
One
I thought
sheet of paper.
transfer. Oh, I see what you're saying.
No.
everything's fairly straightforward. Reducing demo and wood.
is that because we're charging more for it now?
Actually, no, we haven't changed. We didn't actually change that one yet. But it's just I think we used it last. But you can talk more
Demo and
intensely
wood.
about it.
Most of this stuff is under contract through Waste Management. We had a 5-year contract, so we forecasted some of the numbers that is in this year's contract for some of these numbers. Using last couple of years of numbers that we had, obviously you can see demo and waste in 23 was $26,000. Then we're almost a little under half of that now in 24, so that's why we kind of jimmied that number a little bit. Population growth is growing pretty fast. I mean, this could go way south on us, but that's unforeseen as well.
I'm surprised recycling's gone down.
Yeah, and again, that's all based on hauling numbers and fuel prices that come through Waste Management.
And is that because less people, citizens coming in, they're putting less recyclable in there?
Well, it's
Or-
hard to say at this point as far as what their habits are.
I just remember the recycle. Remember at one point recycling was almost. It was like worth something.
Yeah.
And then I think it went the opposite
Bottomed
way.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't know if it was an education part where we've had population growth, so maybe the new population doesn't realize that we have recycling and encourage.
I think we have data from our annual reports on recycling, so I think we can pull that data to see the actual.
Yeah, we actually do a report for the transfer station by April for the DEP.
Oh, really?
If that's a report that you guys may want to be interested in, we can certainly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Again, I'm just curious. You know.
We love reports.
People
graphs and
I'm a report person.
All numbers. It's all a number thing.
Send them.
It's no graphs.
I was going to say, not that we charge more, but do you think actually having contractors have to pay to unload has been kind of that deterrent from that demo/wood disposal? Because I remember a couple of years ago, we were just having people coming in from all over the place just dumping.
I think you're probably
And I
right.
think that's probably what it was. You know, you had
I think you're on to
private
something.
contractors coming in using the town dump, so they didn't have to pay for it. Town transfer station.
It's exactly. It's great.
Did we
Hi.
already ask about materials and supplies?
I did not.
Which part?
When did in either?
Materials and supplies? It just seemed to go up quite a bit. Just wondered.
Oh, the big jump there.
Manager request added.
I think we.
So
what we-
James, yeah. So
What we did is combined operating supplies in materials and supplies.
Yeah.
oh, okay. Oh,
Just-
that's right. Because there's
just
nothing
to
operating. Okay.
Get rid of an
okay.
like they're basically like
Same
it's
line.
just
Gotcha.
an unnecessary added
Get rid of one
code.
thing.
Yep.
And I don't have fuel. Did you have
You
fuel?
put it back.
Yeah, we fixed it. There was a
Yeah. How many part-time employees do we have?
You got 4 part-time employees. We're going to have a position open in April. Sam just left us, but we have a fill-in guy that's willing to work until April, a 24-hour shift. That's what it is, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday is actually just 24 hours.
Okay.
When mowing season starts, he'll be leaving us for his mowing job that he does, and we'll be looking to hire then.
So 4.
Is he looking to come back in the winter, or is he?
Well, he'll certainly fill in.
Okay.
Yep, he'll fill in when needed for,
Just wondering, because then it kind of puts your avenue towards, you know, whether it's a high school kid or a college kid just looking for a summer job,
right,
you know, kind of tying out.
sure, understand.
Do we use any of the high school? I know the high school kids have to do a lot of community service and things like that. Do we use any of them for like mowing cemeteries around the town or anything like that?
We don't, not in public works. I mean,
What would be the liability on
I
that?
don't know, recreation.
I wonder, like, oh my God, what if?
well, it's part of the discussion
Yeah.
we were having on like well, we actually the discussion we were having with Betsy was if you're over 14, they have the option to do volunteer hours, but once they hit their volunteer hours, then we have to pay anyone above 14.
Right.
So they can't volunteer past their designated high school volunteer hour times.
Right, so it doesn't count
Okay.
for the community service hours.
Gotcha.
They can count it towards it. It's just once they
Once
hit
they hit their max.
their 60, then we would have to pay them or they just go away.
Oh.
Which is, I mean,
Get 5 kids, do 60 hours. There's your
so you can just
summer.
cycle the kids out, yeah.
Okay.
Child labor. Might be illegal, but.
I don't think we're that desperate yet.
No, no.
Well, they can't operate any of the machines till they're 18, so that doesn't.
And that's the other thing. Can't get out,
Sometimes they
right?
like to have like a specific project, like,
Correct.
hey, we want to clean up a particular cemetery or something like that, so give them that one project.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always think, let the kids come to you with the project.
The Eagle Scouts are fun.
All right, any other questions for Public Works? Well, I think that will end our budget review for today.
Good. Thanks, Jody.
Thanks, guys, yeah.
Thank you.
Good seeing you again.
Have a good night.
All right. So,
Do these have our names on them? Because I wrote all over
No,
the sheets.
no. Budget's fine. You just gotta hand it all in advance at the end.
You can take them home if you bring them back.
Okay. Well, I just noticed.
I brought mine back last year.
Most of us did.
okay, so, I make a motion that we come back into session.
Good night.
I second the motion.
All those in favor? I make a motion that we enter executive session under Title I, 405, 6A for the discussion of personnel.
Second.
All those in favor?
Wait a minute, yep, but she's gotta use the
Yeah,
restroom.
that's
Oh,
fine.
yeah,
Contingent upon.
So do I.
Contingent on bathroom use.
So, go to the bathroom, and then we'll.
We didn't get our line
Yeah,
time.
you gotta give her time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too, so.
As far as I just know, there's no audio on the live usually.